episode 115. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Batman, Superman, world's finest. And we have a red coat, and we have a Conan. Let's go check him out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I am an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, and occasional filmmaker. We just finished up a film in LA, and now I'm figuring out if I'm going to go back to LA or if we're going to be shooting something here or something in another state. I'd like to eventually work in Atlanta since I moved here. Remember, before we get started here, give me some thumbs up, give me some love, give me a like and a subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. And also, just a reminder, too, that we have launched Mythlords Classic Monsters. This is a card game for 1 to now 5 players because we unlocked the 5th player where you can play as your favorite classic monsters. It also plays solo mode, so there's plenty in there. Everything you need is inside the box. The description below has the link in it. Go ahead and click that. It'll take you to Backer Kit. And you can check out the video there and see if it's something you want to jump into. But we are unlocking free stuff now because we are fully funded. All right, so let's jump right into Batman, Superman, World's Finest. So this is by Mark Waid and Dan Mora doing art. They are a very good team together. I know a lot of people are down on Mark Waid because he says stupid shit. I think some artists and actors should stay away from the internet. But anyway, this is number 27, and this follows the storyline of all of the imps. So we have Batmite, we have Mr. Mxyzptlk, and now a whole bunch of other imps have now come to Earth and are replicating all of the villains and giving them additional powers. So it's getting all nasty in here, and the Parasite, not only did he suck powers out, but now he sucked dimensions out. So he left Batman and Superman and Robin as a 2-dimensional print on a side of a building. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I love this first shot of Batmite being like the opening of Batman animated series. That's really cool. So this is a lot of a harkening back to the original superhero stuff. So here we have Mr. Mxyzptlk. He's dealing with Parasite there. And then I love Wonder Woman jumping down. And Wonder Woman is in the original costume, original bikini costume there. We have Cheetah with the Cheetah Imp. And then you can see right here that Superman, Batman, and Robin are basically wall art. That's pretty cool. And then we have Lois and Jimmy recording this from the side. Wonder Woman gets zapped through the thing, her lasso. We bring the middleman in here, but they're not big players in this comic. But Jimmy being in there is important. So we have Chemo in here, and then we go back to the original Aquaman. Amazing. And of course we have Black Manta, and then we have the Black Manta Imp, and we also have Green Arrow because there's a Merlin Imp, etc. So Mr. Mxyzptlk is like, I'm going to have to get them out of the wall, and they send Batmite in there. Meanwhile, Supergirl's getting her butt kicked, and we have Black Manta zapping Aquaman. So there's a lot of good action in here. And then we switch over to like the Super Friends. This art is exactly like Super Friends, and Batmite is stuck in the wall with them. So he tries to figure out how to get out, and Batman's like, "You don't know how to get out of here, do you?" She's like, "Not really," but he blows real thing and he pops, and he's like, "You guys can do it too," but he just pulls them out, but they end up not in or back in Earth out of the wall. they end up in this whatever universe that they're in, this 2D universe. And I love the art. I mean, Mora does such a really great job with the art on this. So they figure out how to get out. Meanwhile, all of the battle is still going on. And one of the Mr. Mixenflick, I think, says, hey, Jimmy Olsen, you've had powers all through your life at one time or another, and he has through the page of Superman, back from the 40s already on. He's always had little powers here and there that he's had for a short amount of time. And he basically gives him all those powers, and now he's in, multiple of him with these powers. So he was like Turtle Boy and all this stuff. So we have all these. He's basically attacking all the villains as himself, and Robin gets in at the end and hits Killer Frost. And there's so that's right. That god, he has a belt on that he can touch two things, and he can have both those powers. And he's like, well, I have 8 arms or whatever, 6 arms, so therefore I could have 6 powers, and that's what he does. And he just lays everybody out. So this whole thing is that they're getting chosen to be a champion, okay, a champion of Earth. And the guy says, Jimmy Olsen, you are now the champion of Earth. And he's like, what? And he's like, and welcome to your death. So I thought that was really great. So it's kind of like Secret Wars type of thing, or War World. It reminds me of Mojo from the X-Men. That's what it reminds me of. But anyway, so this issue was lots of fun. I definitely recommend it. Would it make a good film or television show? Probably a television show. Like, you could do an episode or a couple of episodes on this. It'd be lots of fun, especially as a cartoon. I think it would be really good. But it would probably not on the film side. All right, so let's jump into Conan by Jim Zub. The artwork on this is phenomenal. It's definitely a throwback to the 70s, where we had really good Conan. So he's looking for this black rock or whatever else. He goes back in time after basically impaling himself with a sword, and he's being controlled by the spirits. So that's that whole first piece where he was a thief. But now this is a whole completely different piece because he's back in time in Atlantis or around Atlantis with Kull. So he's with Kull and this other guy, Brule. And Brissa was the girl from the last whole arc where she died. We don't even know what happened to her. But anyway, so now they're going into the depths of Atlantis here to look for that black rock situation. And meanwhile, he has a conversation with I think it's like a Hindu god, where it's an elephant. And he's like, yes, you're back in time, and we will meet each other in the future. And I'm very happy that you helped me in the future, because he can see everything at the same time, and we will meet again. And then he reverts back to where he just sees the statue. And Kull's like, hey, are you listening? And he's like, oh, sorry, I was distracted. But anyway, they get to this doorway, and they hatchet up the doorway, and all these guys pour out of it. Like, look at that battle scene. That's just phenomenal. But anyway, this whole battle takes place, and they're like, how the hell were they living in there? So when they go inside after they have this whole battle, which, he's lobbing off heads. I mean, they don't really cower away from any of the actual battle and gore and everything like that. And the woman that he had a little fling with is killed. So, and Kull, prays for all the people that have died. Now there's only 4 of them left. So they're going through this doorway. I mean, look at the art there. That's just phenomenal. So they're going through this doorway, not knowing what all these guys were in there, and they're like, what the hell? But he's like, we need to be cautious. He's like, no, it's in that sarcophagus. And Kull by himself opens it, and this thing comes out, and he pulls a sword out of it. And he's like, "We did all this for a sword?" And he's like, "I don't think that we should be touching stuff like this." And this entity comes up behind him, takes the sword away, and we find out. Well, first of all, he gets impaled. Cole gets impaled by this creature, and he blasts them all away. And we find out that it's actually Thulsa Doom. And then on the next page here, because if you know Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones played him in the movie. But I read this whole thing about the real Thulsa Doom, and I found out that he was actually a lich. So Lich from D&D is like a skeletal creature, and so that's what Thulsa Doom is supposed to look like. Was what it looks like in there, like almost like. And then they said that Skeletor was actually created from the original Thulsa Doom. So pretty interesting stuff. I was glad I read that. But anyway, I'm really interested to see what's happening now. The story is literally all over the place because I can't tell. I mean, now we're in the past, and the whole storyline from the previous thing is now gone. We're not even discussing it anymore. I don't know what's going on. And now Thulsa Doom shows up in the past. So how's this going to work in the future? When you deal with time travel, you got to be real careful. So we'll see what happens, but I really like it. So especially the artwork is just, very dynamic. They do a really good job. Anyway, that's by Titan. So notice that I have one DC, and then this is Image. So these are all independents. I tell you, I got very little. Marvel's got Blood Hunt going on, and I really don't care about any of that. So I got almost no Marvel books, and I have a few DC books, and I have a whole bunch of independents. So I'm spending more money on independents than I am on anything else. So this is about Simon Pure. He is a redcoat from the War of Independence around 1776. I guess they were experimenting on the founding fathers, or they had some kind of a ritual, and he ended up being immortal. But now it's 1890. Why is he still in America? If a redcoat from the War for Independence became immortal, would he not go back to Britain, where he had family and friends and possibly another life? They were there just to fight. Why would he stay in America, where he has nothing? It makes no sense. Plus, he'd be wearing a red coat after they lost the war? I'm just flabbergasted about the brains of this. Does anybody not even think about the fact that he would be treated like an outcast? He would be threatened continuously after the war was over. I mean, yes, it shows that he died several times, but why would he want to? Why would he literally paint a red target on his back? It makes absolutely zero sense. And then it's now 100 years later, 1776 to 1890 and beyond, and he's still wearing the same coat. What? That makes no sense. It's like, yeah, I need them to wear this coat and this uniform, or else the book doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, man. I mean, you're just insulting my intelligence by this. So anyway, he comes. This boy digs him out of his grave because he keeps getting buried, and it ends up being a young Albert Einstein, which also makes no sense, and I'll explain that in a second. But the artwork's decent. I do not like this character at all. So, see what it says there? 1776, 1841, 1892. So we've had 100 years go by. He's in the same costume, man. Does he not have any other clothes after 100 years? So anyway, we see the flashback of, the artwork's decent, but the kid's in trouble, and he's running. So, and now the kid has to run after him while they're getting shot at. But he got hit by a hatchet, and the wound keeps exploding on him. So, I mean, again, the artwork's pretty good. He's on a train now with the kid, and they're escaping, and he's like, we need to get some food, and there is somebody that I can ask about this. And he's like, again, the wound explodes on him because it's a magical hatchet. I mean, look at the artwork there. It's just phenomenal. So they go to this party because he knows the person putting it on, and they start eating, and then it ends up being Benedict Arnold, and he's immortal also. Whatever, you're just throwing people in here now from history. That's how I feel about it. So he's like, well, I need help and whatever else. And look at that panel. I mean, that is just great. So that's Benedict Arnold's wife or whatever, or I guess he's courting her. I don't think he's his wife. He's courting her, and he's like, all right, let's just go, because, of course, he was flirting with her. And he locks him in the office to basically keep an eye on him. And then he comes and knocks the kid out of the way, and the wound explodes again. And he, I guess this is what he's feeling at that time when everything explodes on him. And Benedict Arnold says, how does it feel to have like 2 days to live or whatever? So that's the end of that. But meanwhile, you have young Albert Einstein, who believes only in science, right? And you're exposing him to all this supernatural stuff. It makes no sense, because then he would go into the supernatural as opposed to into science. It's a dichotomy there. It doesn't make any sense. So his whole career and life would change. He would probably go into the occult instead of creating the theory of relativity. So let's go and do a recap. So this would be no, and I'm not even continuing it. I'm done. This is I'm literally collecting one, because I'm not collecting Geiger either, all this Ghost Machine stuff. I'm only collecting Rook, and that's it. Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, pretty amazing. I can't wait for the next issue. That and Red Sonja have been really good for the 2 fantasy books. Really good. And this, or Batman Superman World's Finest, was just fun. It's just a fun series, and I know Mark Waid is Mark Waid. He's just gonna say stupid shit, but I can't boycott him because I like the work. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you for another episode of watching me rant about comics. Let me know what you're collecting. Are you liking these as well? Are these on your pull list as well? Also, remember to give me that like and subscribe. Give me that thumbs up. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And also, remember that the link below for Mythlords, classic monsters card game. It's a deck builder. It's not hard to learn. You can see some of the artwork. So you can play as Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Deep. You can attach weapons and spells to them. You can also have additional characters that are also in the box. So you're recruiting characters from another deck, and that's also, everything's included in the box. And it's only $35, so it's not expensive. And so, Bride of Frankenstein, Mummy, the Headless Horseman, etc. And then if you want additional content, you can see the Creature from the Deep there. If you want additional content also, we also released Mythlords with the classic monsters, so you can swap them in and out. So you can also play as Dorothy the Wicked Witch, and then there's additional characters like the other witches, Glinda, Toto 2, and of course Tin Man, Scarecrow, Flying Monkeys, Cowardly Lion, all that stuff. All right, check all that out. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Check out some of my other episodes as well as they pop up. And you might look at some of the past stuff that I've done. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And I will see you guys on the next episode.